There's an important point I want to make before really getting into this video. As I've gotten older, as I've gotten more mature as a man, there's really nothing that I value more than my own peace of mind. And I find that many men, if not most men, get to that point in life where they want to be able to deal with daily tasks, things like work, college, family-related stuff, and be able to go home and enjoy the day. Not have any other unnecessary stressors. Now, when it comes to marriage, I'm someone who from a young age was a fan of the idea of marriage. Someone who thought it was great from a societal perspective, from a traditional sense. But what I've come to find from pretty much everyone I know who has gotten married is a very common line of trends of just complete horror stories. And each one is fairly similar. Things were going well. We got married, had a kid even. And then all of a sudden, just like that, my wife turned into a demon, someone who was out to destroy my life. That's the common trend I've heard. I know probably at least 10 different friends of mine who have told me the same thing. I personally have a friend right now who is dealing with a custody battle, as well as no contact order stuff with the same woman. And they have a daughter together. Now that's frightening to think about. Any one of us who's been in a friendship, relationship, or just a person you know, for them to one day just switch and take a full 180 and be out to destroy your life is scary. Now, if that sounds like to me is a narcissist, quite frankly, who with narcissists, once they have pulled you into their game, once they have gotten you emotionally invested, then the manipulation begins. Then the abuse begins, the psychological, verbal abuse. Then the games begin. Now, I know narcissists are much more common nowadays. I mean, pretty much anyone will tell you that. But it just is so bizarre that I keep seeing this same trend. Now, I'm usually someone who doesn't like to use anecdotal evidence to be like, oh, it applies to a general sense or a general rule. But even doing my own research and looking at the literature, something like 50% almost of first-time marriages in the U.S. end in divorce. Those are very bad odds. You're taking a coin toss at that point. I'm sure there is a variety of reasons why that happens. Why marriages might end in divorce. But it just seems like I'm seeing the same trope. I've heard of fake allegations to get no contact orders. Ways to prevent the father from seeing their kids, the woman wanting full custody of the kid. Now that's just pure evil. I mean, anyone who is going to make a fake allegation, period, falsifying reports to the law to use it against someone, that's despicable. And not to mention using a kid, using someone's own biological child to dangle in front of them as some form of a power grab or manipulation. Excuse me. That's so sick. As men, we all have persevered things. We all have overcome things. We've all worked hard to get to the point where we're at. Whether it's building our body physically, whether it's stimulating our mind and learning new things, or getting new skills, finding new hobbies, getting to a certain point in your career. We've worked too hard to have that stripped away from us by someone. We've worked too hard to have additional stressors put into our lives that are really just unnecessary. Men have enough to deal with. You look at the jobs men take, the physical stuff, the manual labor. Men have enough to deal with. The last thing any man wants is additional stress. And I'll put it this way. I've heard some people say men are complicated. I don't believe that. I believe if a man is able to get his day at work done and come home to a happy wife and a happy kid to see him and be able to just relax, even if they had a stressful day at work, they're going to be living in harmony. I believe that's what most men want. I believe that's what would give most men happiness. To be able to celebrate the birthday parties with their son or daughter. Men are not that complicated, in my opinion. It's just nowadays we're in a very strange place culturally. A lot of men feel lost. A lot of men feel out of place. A lot of men feel unsure of themselves. And when we hear horror stories like this, of divorces and things ending in very ugly ways, we get horrified and want to steer away from the idea altogether. Now, let me make something clear. I'm not a woman bashing channel. I'm not a channel saying men shouldn't date. I think that it's great for men to be in proximity around women or other people, to be sociable. I think it's good to be confident in yourself and get out of your comfort zone. I think it's good to experience and learn how relationships work in friendships or dating, whatever it might be. I think it's good to know how to navigate through life. I think it's good to know how to discern people. As I mentioned in a prior video dealing with narcissists, when I was younger and more naive, I didn't have that discernment through experience. So I was much more vulnerable to think that this kind of drama and negativity and chaos in friendships or relationships was normal, which it's not. It's destructive. So it's important. But I have to call it like I see it. When you look at the facts, when you look at, most of us probably have heard similar things from people we know who have been married or had kids. Not everyone. I can't generalize and say everyone. But it's terrible. And even the amount of kids being born to single-parent households. I don't know if this is a thing exclusive to America. I didn't do research in other countries, but I would imagine somewhere like Spain or Italy or Greece, I would be pretty surprised to see if these statistics were that high. There's clearly some very strange cultural stuff going on here, whether that's from the media, social media, dating apps, whatever it might be. We're in a very strange place. A lot of us, Gen Z and millennials, probably feel like we were born in the wrong time. Probably feel like we wish we could be the ages we are now in the 90s or something like that, when things were a lot different. And I'm not talking about just the economy and inflation. I'm talking about a whole variety of stuff. But when men look at that, they just think, gosh, is this even worth it? I mean, not to mention the custody battle stuff, but the financial damages that are caused by a divorce, the emotional damages, which I couldn't even imagine. I've never been married, but I've been in bad situations in the past. I've been hurt by women in the past. That's probably most people, if not everyone watching this video has, whether it's some breakup, whether it's, a girl not showing mutual interest, whether it's getting cheated on, whatever it might be. I can only imagine what it would be to lose your wife and have your kids stripped away from you. I don't even want to imagine. I don't. That's how scary it is. But I just want to get on here and be upfront about young men just hearing these kind of horror stories and just, if not steering away from it, just seriously questioning the concept of marriage as it is nowadays. Because we've worked too hard on ourselves to have it all ruined and stripped away from us. We've worked way too hard on ourselves. So that's the video, guys. Thank you so much for viewing. If you have any thoughts, please feel free to comment. If you yourself have dealt with marriage or custody battle stuff, give me your thoughts, because at the time of this video, I'm 28 years old. I'm not going to act like I know all the answers. I'm just simply giving my views and perspectives from a Gen Z male, seeing the world, feeling like they were born in the wrong time, and trying to create an open community, because there's a lot of men struggling with mental health stuff, self-worth stuff, all different kinds of stuff. So, leaving it open to your guys' interpretation. If you think I'm wrong, feel free to comment below. Again, I'm not trying to bash dating or women or any of that. I'm just calling it like I see it. And I'm basing it off the research and things I've heard from word of mouth. I'm someone who, as mentioned, I've always valued things that are traditional. I think from a traditional perspective, if you will, that's how things, I guess you could say, were meant to be. A man and a woman getting together and having a child. You know, if our parents wouldn't have done that, we wouldn't be here. But something's got to give, because what's going on nowadays, it's just not normal. That's really the only way I could put it. Thank you for viewing.